Just to really throw our players in, everything from that to really last plays of the game, 10 seconds on the clock.
Okay, any players make any plays today?
We've had Darryl Stewart had a good day, and Cody and Jalen Naylor, and so you're seeing guys that are making plays, with one-on-one opportunities.
Thanks.
Fred, Friday night under the lights, Rocky had a couple touchdown passes. Brian's got his zip back. You got to be excited to have a 1-2 quarterback that with the potential and the way they're playing, aren't you?
It is. You really don't. You always talk about experience, and there's value in it. So for Rocky to play last year and get that game experience under his belt, and a guy that started as a sophomore, and so we're excited, obviously, to have those two guys back.
Mark, too, said we asked if we see anything different from Saturday, and he's like, well, obviously we're not going to show you everything we did, but coming off the year you had last year, how much do you almost feel like you want to just say, hey, here's our offense, look at what we've done, you know what I mean?
But I won't. No, you got to play to your people, and so that's what this has been, a really good spring, and we've done. Really a lot of football. You look at how many plays, team plays that we get in. We're fortunate too. I think we've got 102 players. So at times we're doing 3-spot full team. So we're getting over 100 team reps. In a practice, and so guys are getting valued reps because it's really about lining up, knowing what to do and how to do it.
Brad, you obviously, maybe when everything was going on, had your ideas about offense and things you might want to see. What are some of those things maybe that you've injected in since you've gotten a position as OC?
Well, I think, you always coach to your personality and the things that you've been around, whether it's, my dad or the people I've worked for way back with Gary Tranquil, or obviously the things here in 9 years. And so, those are things that you're familiar with. But I think the biggest thing is just, finding a way to get, the ball to your playmakers, and just being able to do different things with formations and people, but really systematically having the ability for our guys to line up and play. So there's less thought, and guys can concentrate on really just making the play and the task at hand.
Brad, a lot of people assume that offensive coordinator and quarterbacks, they go hand in hand. What's the big advantage to having your OC not coaching quarterbacks?
I think Coach D'Antonio's always done that, and I think there's a positive because it's such a run-pass orientated position. And I was in the room before 6 years ago, and so you're really in both, the drills you need to be and have an understanding of pass protection and run game and what you want to do, because ultimately you got to run the football to win. But there's obviously that relationship with the quarterbacks from the previous 6 years, and so Coach Warner and I are bouncing back and forth. Dave's doing a great job with the QBs.
When you see the Brian Lewerke from 2017 out here now?
You do. You feel like it. There's the confidence is back, and the arm strength is back, and so we've seen some very good things from him.
When you look towards the spring game, and on offense in particular, when you're making adjustments, making changes, is it better to have ones versus ones in that setting in a spring game, or would you like to see the draft, or is there any benefit to both?
I can't answer that because I don't know what we're doing right now. So whatever we do will be the best thing to do.
But you guys, you guys have been able to experience all of it. You know what I mean?
We've lucked out with numbers. I think it's fun for the players when you draft, and I think you see some different players maybe that you wouldn't see. And we've been going kind of ones-on-ones the whole spring, so it's something different. But we'll figure out what we'll do on Saturday.
Being back in the running back room, I know in the past you've had like Le'Veon and Edwin and Larry all together. Now it feels like you got a lot of guys, but it's kind of figuring out who that's going to be. Is that kind of different?
It really, but with them too, we were trying to figure out which one of the 3 or 4, Nick Hill and Jeremy Langford, were in there too. And so we're sort of that nature. We got 7 guys, 8 guys that are running tailback, so we're trying to rep them all, figure out who fits, and them just to get better with their steps and vision and making plays with the football in their hand.
How many of them can you use? Are you a 3 tailback guy? Are you 2 guys? You want one guy who's going to play Le'Veon or Javon Ringer?
When I was in there before, it's hard to even use 3. You like to, depends situations. If you got a 3rd down guy, if you can roll a 4th guy in there, but part of it too is who gets a hot hand. If it's in a game or if it's for the season, that'll be the guy. But you cannot play 60, 70 snaps at running back.
I'm going to say that freshmen can learn that position maybe easier than some others. How tough is that to break in when you have that much competition there, or the guys you're going to use here right now?
We've got 2 that coming in, and one's here now. Anthony Williams done a very good job. Has some similarities to Jeremy a little bit. So he's done a good job of learning. Obviously, you fall behind in the pass protection and little nuances of position, but being here is helping him grow.
How much time did you guys spend going back and seeing how guys like Connor and Ladarius did last year? I know the offensive line took a lot of heat. but there could be times too when maybe guys didn't see holes as well, or like you said, how much time did you spend going back and kind of critiquing how they did that?
You spend time doing everything. You know, we even it was the cut up at the very end of their run so that they themselves and us can see how do they finish a play. You know, I think that when you walk in that room, the first thing I said when I was in there 9 years ago is do you really understand the value of 3 feet? I mean, 1 yard is a big, do they really get it when you finish forward, that's another 2 yards, second 4, way better than second 6, you know, and just teaching guys how to finish and understand that value. And they're seeing it. They got clips of themselves now, you know, from the previous fall, and obviously you're seeing the stuff from practice. They're able to see it and learn.
Are you starting to see the consistency with the offensive line? Since you have so many guys back, are you seeing
Absolutely. You know, you get your health back and you get some guys back, and we've had guys that have experience, and so you're seeing the communication, seeing guys working together, juggling guys around a little bit right and left and figuring out what the best fit is. And as you go into a season, you always try to find 8 or 9 guys that can play, and who's the next guy in? Does it move somebody else? And so we're just solidifying that, but really just trying to get a lot of football in with these guys.
It's been 15 years or so since you were calling the plays. Being back in the OC role, what is that like? I guess what stood out the most in being back in that position?
I mean, it's fun, you know. I mean, it's always fun to be in that role, and I did it as a head coach too, so it didn't change there. But you're much more in tune to just in control what's going on, but then being able to coach everybody, and obviously your mind sort of races that way, and you kind of got to be wired that way a little bit. And so obviously I'm fired up for the opportunity.
So you were still the OC at Augustana when you were the head coach. With the way last year went, obviously a lot of complaints about the offense. Do you sense that your group is, that just creates more motivation versus say, last year you guys had done pretty well, and maybe you say the coordinator left for a different opportunity, versus the way the situation you're coming off of last year?
No, obviously we're all saying that, as a staff, as an offense, and it's a unique situation, but I think it's a place where it can happen. It's not going to be me. It's going to be all of us. And so it's all of us working together as a staff, as players, as a position, as a running back, as an alignment, a quarterback, that's going to get this thing fixed.
How's that communication? Because that's different when you guys shift roles like that.
It is. I mean, at first, but guys basically you move around, each change chairs, but all of us bring value, and what we've seen, I think there's a connection. There's no disconnect in not knowing who the players are, because we all know who they are and what they can do. We all know what we've done in the past, and so those are things we can work through or do or not do, and so it's been really good. But this staff is that way. I mean, we're a very close staff, and guys that have worked together and care about each other, and I think we're excited for the opportunity for next fall.
Are you maybe, I don't know if excited is the right word, but are you seeing a little bit more value in these scrimmages this year just because of your role? I mean, it's your practice too to be able to call plays in the sort of heat of the moment, everything, I guess. Do you see more value in these scrimmages, and obviously also the spring game because of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty. You called it, so it either worked or it didn't. And so obviously you take that mindset as a coordinator, and you're just trying to create positions, get guys in position, get the ball, to certain people, or understanding down distance and put yourself in a favorable position.
Is there a rust to that where you kind of have to get back into a play calling groove or anything,
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of stuff here where coach just says call it, and he creates the situation, so we've been doing it all spring. But you got to get yourself into rhythm with a little bit of the new verbiage and what we're trying to do, with the players too. And so, that's obviously happening. We've had a lot of opportunities here with this many practices.
And what about like January and February? What were those like for you? Just trying to get, was there more homework, I guess, involved or anything, just coming into spring to be ready for all this and what you wanted to get done and everything?
It was unique from the previous. I mean, obviously it is research mode every off season, but it's a little more of, okay, what can we do with the people that we have? What are things that we've done in the past? What are different things that people are doing or we want to do? What do we feel like we can coach? And, biggest thing is how do you score touchdowns? That's the biggest thing you got to accomplish.
How do you score touchdowns?
You got to get the hands on.
So when people are disgruntled or they say, they want new blood or something on the coaching staff, what's the big advantage to doing it this way and the familiarity of knowing each other?
I just think it's the history, knowing each other, knowing your players, and what they can do, confidence in each other as coaches, and I think it's renewed spirit in us a little bit because you got a different position group and made a change, and I think it had made the players respond to a change, which has been positive. And so obviously we're excited about the opportunity as well.
with Ladarius specifically? Obviously, a guy who's still pretty new to the position. What are you seeing that's different out of him after a full season of camp? And
really,
13 games?
you look at him and Connor, the same way, because Connor wasn't really a running back in high school. So that's a position of just growth. You get a lot of reps, and so you're seeing it right now because he's having a better feel, I think, for press and line of scrimmage, vision.